Glad to welcome you to the show. We're streaming live on Facebook. It's Joy 997 FM on Facebook. You can follow us and drop your comments on the page. Also, we'll share this link on the Joy Sports page on Facebook as well. What are we discussing today? The Africa Games wraps up today in Morocco. And on a simple face assessment, Ghana has underperformed. Underperformed in the sense that the last time Ghana was able to rake in 19 medals. Today being the final day, we've got a count of 13. So clearly Ghana has underperformed. But there's something rather unique and interesting that has happened this time round. It is the performance of the 4x100 meters relay team, which seems to have taken away the disappointment. Some seem to be satisfied, probably even better than the 19 medals that we made the last time when the Africa Games was held. But something surely is going right, and a lot is wrong as well. So today on the Joy Sports Link, we're just asking ourselves that simple question. We'll also be doing a bit of a peer review and asking some of our friends on the West Coast, especially Nigeria, who have performed very well this term, what they're doing right. And we'll be speaking to one of the very seasoned journalists to take a look at what Nigeria is doing right. Also, we'll be taking a close look at what's happening on the front of football as we build up to the Ghana FA's much-awaited Congress. And of course, a 7-member committee was put together to review the proposed statutes for bringing back Ghana Football Administration to normalcy. Now, there is a report, reviews have been done, and the secretary to the committee will be here in the studio to do some further discussions with us. So what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong when it comes to our participation in multi-sport events? A story of the 2019 African Games in Morocco. We'll be doing a review of all of that right here on the show. But right now it's time to talk some Formula One. All right, so thank you very much for staying with us. We're building up to Belgium. And of course, a lot is happening. Ahead of every Grand Prix, something interesting happens. Well, there's been an accident during practice. We know that with Mercedes. And we'll be taking some updates and having a look at how technically it can affect Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton going in there. Remember that Hamilton has a very big fan base here. Of course, the Ferrari people also have their own fan base. So Kojote is talking Ferrari business today. Kwabna Poku is here, and Dr. Santiapia is also here, always in his BMW gear. And of course, the major discussion for today is what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. And there are a group of individuals who have decided to devote their efforts, financial, emotional, and other, to help athletics and its development in the country. So the group is called Just Because Fitness. And they're represented here by Ifya Apea. They just took it upon themselves to, go into corporate Ghana, talk to friends, and organize, get funds to support athletes and athletics competitions so they can do well. They have traveled with their own resources to support our athletes, and I'm very sure that they are happy at what is happening, at least with some of the modest achievements that have been made at the Africa Games. But the other discussion then is, what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? We'll be listening to Ifya, and of course we'll be getting on the phone line to speak to Professor Twumasi. Professor Peter Twumasi is the Director General of the National Sports Authority. He's leading the team there in Morocco, and he was very upbeat about a big medal haul at the Games. Well, we underperformed. We'll be talking about all of that here. We'll also be going to Nigeria to speak to a sports journalist there to assess what they do there and how they're able to perform better at such competitions. But like I mentioned earlier, it's time to talk Formula One. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. It's been a very long wait. It's been a very, very long wait. And I've been monitoring, we've all been on the Formula One platform. And just in case you're not on the Formula One platform, don't worry. We're finding ways of getting everybody on there. But, on Sundays, people, put shots there. They're like, oh, my goodness, I forgot that we're in the office. well, the break is still on, the races haven't resumed, and, there's nothing to do. I'm very bored. Well, finally, we have another big race coming up. But, of course, there's a lot to talk about. Let's begin with the accident, the damage caused to Lewis Hamilton's car. Indications are that Mercedes are working very hard to do a replacement and to fix everything. How does all of that fall into the race tomorrow?
Yeah, we hope that he will be able to at least do the qualifiers this afternoon. If they're able to fix the car, they will not have the chance of really preparing the car properly, setting it up and making sure that it's well balanced for the race. So basically, Lewis is on the back foot, and I do not expect him to be even among the top 5 in terms of qualifying. So it's a tough ask. This is the 13th race. It's a bad luck race. So anything can happen to anybody.
Do we do Friday the 13th business around here? Well, if you're schooled in the US, so she probably would have. Number 13, do you also do that number 13 business?
Well, it's just a myth, man. You see, the thing is that Lewis has always had a bad luck with Belgium. Belgium has never been a favorite circuit for him, So when I heard the news, I was actually on my way back to Accra, and I heard the news from the group. So I wasn't really surprised that, okay, there was an issue. And I'm sure Ferrari is like, oh, yeah, But funny thing is, this morning, Mercedes handle on Twitter was like, oh, the red guys have had the failed weekend. I mean, let's go catch them during the qualifiers. And then this thing happened. So, it's a long shot for them. As Dr. I say, I agree totally with Dr. that. I mean, it will be a long shot for Lewis. But you never know. He can pull up some surprises.
Well,
and I'm sure
Bottas is still there.
Bottas is still there.
There's one Mercedes to do battle with the...
To do battle. Sure. But for Ferrari, this always will come as very good news. At least obviously when your opponent has a little issue ahead of a major event like this. And especially knowing as well that Belgium has always proved problematic for Mercedes. Kojo is on cloud 9 already.
Thank you very much. It's news that I've just heard. And my cloud is going beyond 9. Yes, Belgium has always been a Ferrari track. Last year, we saw the dramatic overtake Vettel did on Hamilton and won the race. It's a fast circuit, and that's that it helps. It works well for Ferrari. Meantime, we may expect that Hamilton will start from the back, possibly. But if he does, it has a tendency to deliver some miracles. So I won't put him totally out yet. Looking at it from doctor's perspective, he may not win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up a spectacular show.
Wow, interesting stuff there.
Well,
okay,
and then there's a point of there's very likely to be an accident at the start of the race.
It
happens a lot at Spa because the first 10 is a very difficult one, and the too many cars forcing their way into that corner. So anything can happen.
Okay. So expect something weird to happen, as it always happens in Belgium. And there's also drama at qualifying. I mean, there's usual drama at qualifying as well.
Oh yes, there's the usual drama. I mean, I was expecting Red Bull to put up a show, but for some reason, I don't know. But their new driver is maybe he also has some surprises for us. Mind you, Belgium is the longest track in the Formula One calendar. I mean, and it's just 44 laps. It shows you 44 laps, meaning that it's quite long, So, and they have a lot of straights. And I was saying, Belgium is always good for Ferrari. So Ferrari always performs during free practice and qualifiers. And I'm expecting them to turn up, and give Mercedes-Benz a run for their money. Red Bull, yes. This is one of the favorite tracks for Max Verstappen, and he always performs in Belgium. So this weekend is going to be very, very dicey for Mercedes. And some other drivers may also turn up. I mean, for all you know, McLaren is performing very well, so I'm not writing them off at all,
Are we ever making space for the surprise element? We've had a surprise element at the last 2 races. The last 3 races, we had a surprise. Yeah. So how much in terms of percentages are you giving to the surprise element that somebody may just pop out of all of this? There's a lot of attention on Ferrari. Okay, so they have a bit of an advantage because Lewis is not really we're likely going to have a bit of an incident as well in the early stage. How much percentage would you give to the surprise element for this race?
Well, looking at events for now, I would say the expected Ferrari dominance will be there. But then we have Charles Leclerc, who hasn't won a race yet. Tomorrow may be his day. Then we have Red Bull's Albon, who may spring a surprise and outperform or deliver some goods. So we're looking at maybe 60-70%. I don't think it's going to be the so-and-so, we knew it was going to be like that. Well, Vettel will definitely win anyway, so that one.
but that's also another scenario.
That's another scenario. He's
That's a whole scenario. He hasn't won anything this year. Ferrari hasn't won anything this year. There's pressure on their team principal to perform or he'll be fired. And we could also have an accident between Leclerc and Vettel. Because Vettel doesn't want Leclerc to continue to show him up. So there's going to be that whole scenario also, and it's going to be very interesting tomorrow.
Surprise element, I'll go for 90% surprise. Because there's a lot happening, especially with Mercedes having issues. Albion may just, this is Albion's first fastest car that he's driving, which is a main Red Bull Aston Martin Honda racing engine. So he likes to speed. I mean, from the last race when he was competing with Danny Kvyat for about 2 or 3 turns, they were like neck and neck, So he's also a very young, dynamic, fast driver, and he's already raised the likes of Leclerc and Verstappen before when they were in, I think, F2. So tomorrow I give it about 90% in terms of surprise elements.
Okay. I don't know what your surprise element would be, but there's one person who surely has declared that he doesn't mind. Accident or not, fixing car or not, it's Lewis all the way. Charles Benonioka has sent this message. He says, my dad once told me that, son, if you don't want to say car, say Benz. Okay, and this also feeds into the long-running arguments that have gone on the Formula One platform about which one is better and all of that. And I see, everyone tries to put up a little, a little sarcastic post to to taunt the other, and it's been going. Okay, so Charles, we've got you. You say if you don't want to say car, say Benz. Okay, we hear you. We hear you. I'm sure Doc has a response to that. Doc, no response.
Oh, my response is: if you want to be driven, you drive a Mercedes. If you want to drive yourself, you drive a BMW.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so tomorrow, everybody looks ahead to tomorrow, and Kwabena, give us the roundup.
Okay, so tomorrow we're starting off around 11 at the Starbites Nesta Square Airport City. So we'll be there from 11 going. We have new partners coming on board. I mean, I don't know if you heard about it yesterday. Labadi Beach Hotel is on board as a partner in the venue. We're hosting 3 events at Labadi before the end of the season. Zuba Shop has also joined the trade. We'll begin a lot of giveaways at Starbites tomorrow for people to predict the fastest lap, the fastest pit stop, and then also predict the top 3 winners before the start of the race. And Zuba Shop have some surprises for them at the race tomorrow. We also have Heineken. Obviously, we have DSTV Ghana, A1 Raceway, and then, as usual, our media partners, Joy 99.7. And just so people know, we already have our 2020 schedule coming out very soon.
Yeah.
And we have some fantastic events coming up in 2020 with our media partners and DSTV, and then Heineken and Zuba Shop and Labadi Beach Hotel. So, and we have an amazing surprise also coming for 2020. Aside that, let me just put it out there, our first December fan zone for Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We will give more details in the next interviews going forward.
Of course, of course, definitely.
Oh, before I forget, we were not going to do Japanese Grand Prix because it was 5 a.m. in Ghana.
Okay.
Well, we're doing it. Labadi Beach Hotel is hosting a breakfast viewing party on the 13th of October, Japanese Grand Prix. We are getting there at 5 a.m. The race starts at 5:30.
Well, I know a few friends who have had parties between midnight and
So we're
6 a.m.
We're
it's
actually
normal.
doing the Japanese Grand Prix. We're doing the Japanese Grand Prix. It's going to be a breakfast Grand Prix at the Labadi Beach Hotel on the 13th of October.
Wow.
Yeah.
You heard it right here. It's the home of Formula One. Joy Sports surely is the home of Formula One. And so there's a breakfast viewing party for the Japanese Grand Prix. Hey, you watch NBA at 3 a.m., don't you? So you might as well drive out of home. I mean, I watch my boxing like nobody's business. Sometimes I drive out of my house, half sleepy, just so you watch with friends. You know what I'm talking about. You've got the thing right there on your screen in your home, yet you want to watch with friends. That's what makes the effect better, huh? Well, so a lot more to come. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And we're looking forward to the action tomorrow. And as usual, reporting time should be midday. 11 a.m., of course.
We have 2 hours clear before the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is the home of Formula One. Send in your messages. Remember, it's 0244 340 437. 0244 340 437. We're glad to have your messages. And, I'm sure all of you have been monitoring what's been going on at the Africa Games in Morocco, Ghana's performance and that of others. So, today is the final day. And I'm sure you've been following Joy Sports coverage on our social media handles, on radio, right here on this platform and on television as well. And so the total count is 13. I'll be taking you into the details. And then after that, I'll give you a bit of a brief profile of as many of these athletes as I can. And also give you an idea of what has happened preparation-wise ahead of these games so we could put this discussion in perspective. Okay, thank you very much for staying here with us. So, when the people who are in charge seem not to be making any effort, others who sit back and are concerned naturally make the effort. So there's a group called Just Because Fitness, and I'm very sure that a few of you may have come across them on social media. So these are a group of individuals of diverse backgrounds and of diverse expertise, and they have taken it upon themselves to support athletics, and they are supporting athletics with their own resources and with what they're able to pull in, with their own ingenuity, with their own resources, and they have somewhat a story to tell. I'll be going into that in a bit, but remember that they're represented here by Efia. Efia, good to have you. And I like the, I like the blue, the blue vibe.
Thank you,
The
Nat.
Chelsea fans are always happy when they see blue. Good to see you.
Great.
Okay, so
to be here.
yeah, so Efia is a specialist in international relations and public health. And, she'll be telling us what her motivation was and what the motivation of the rest of the team has been all this while. So we'll also be updating you, remember, on the games in the EPL. Manchester United, as at the time, were on by a goal to nil. We'll bring you all of those updated scores right here. So let's just go through the list. We have 13 medals, okay? So in weightlifting, Winifred Intumi was the one who gave hope to Ghana, and she won 3 bronze medals, okay? So this was in weightlifting, 3 bronze medals for Winifred Intumi. David Akwe won bronze in men's weightlifting in the 61 kg category. Now, Rose Yeboah Amwenima won gold in the high jump. Now, she jumped 1.84 meters. Grace Obour won 1 bronze medal, and this was in the athletics event, and specifically in the 400 meters event, with a time of 51.86. Now let's go to the men's 4x100 meters relay, and of course that is the big story of the whole, it's the big deal that everybody's talking about. Everybody seems to be forgetting that we've underperformed compared to last year because of the 4x100 meters relay team's performance, winning gold. So Sean Safo Entry, Benjamin Azamati, Martin Owusu Entry, and Joseph Paul Amwa, they recorded a time of 38.30 seconds to win gold. And I just go back to that video and I can't stop watching it. I mean, the coordination was wonderful, the baton changing was swift and smooth, and it was just amazing. Now Christian Amwa also won 3 bronze medals in weightlifting in the men's 89 kg category. Forrest Alsay won a silver medal in weightlifting as well, also in the men's 89 kg category. Now in boxing, there was a bit of a disappointment. Many people expected that boxing would have brought us more medals, but it was 1 medal, and that was in the light heavyweight category. Shakur Samed won a bronze medal in the light heavyweight category. Deborah Aqua won, a silver medal in the long jump event with 6.37 meters. That was how long the jump, how high, sorry, it was a long jump event. The long jump event. Okay, so 13 medals, 2 gold medals, 2 silver medals, and 9 bronze medals. Okay, so I'll be going into the brief profiles of some of these athletes, but this is the time to bring Efia in. Efia, thank you very much once again for your time.
Sure thing.
Okay, now, sometime, it was about 2.5 years ago, right? That you and your team came together and said, we want to support athletics. How was all of this informed?
Okay, so we're a group of health conscious professionals.
Okay.
And it's more of a wellness group. So we get together,
And I like the name, Just Because.
Just because. And we get together, we run, we swim, we play tennis, everything that as a team we can do, because it helps to have someone pulling you along. And we happened to be walking at Elwak Stadium.
Okay.
And we came across very intense athletes training. And so we started chatting with them and found out that they were national athletes. They perform for Ghana. But they have some challenges. And I'm sure from your experience with athletes and your boxers, they have a passion to perform. Irrespective of their challenges, they want to perform. And watching them in Rabat shows you they are driven to succeed. And so we thought about it and we were like, the little we can do to help these athletes individually, from their training, their nutrition, psychological support, and getting them from competition to competition, giving them the support. Because one thing they love is before they start to race, if they see supporters supporting them in the stands, it urges them on. So we just took out the calabash and started asking people for money to support the athletes. And
let's hold it there. How tough was it? How easy was it? That bit of the journey.
Well, it's amazing. Ghanaians love their sports, and you go to someone and he remembers running. He remembers being an athlete. He remembers how much it takes to even go a race. And so Ghanaians are very supportive. Ghanaians have been very supportive. And when you break down the cost per athlete per month, it comes to between $1,000 and $1,500 a month.
$1,500 a month. $1,500 only.
Only.
Okay,
Only.
I
Because
see.
the
And this entails training.
technical training, because each athlete more often than not comes with a coach.
Of course.
And then their nutrition. So you have a nutritionist that you pay a nutritionist, you pay a coach,
Okay.
you pay a psychologist, and you pay for medical assistance, because in their training, in their competition, they need medical support. And so Akai House volunteered medical support. So if they have malaria, if they have anything, they go to Akai House and they get.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adrian Odoy, my good friend.
Yes. And we were very glad. Our first supporter was Bond Financial Services. And Mr. Ofosuhene just loves his sport.
Good friend of mine.
He's insane when it comes to sports. And so that was our first support. And we were able to support Hohaluti all the way to that competition, that
in Nigeria.
The Commonwealth Games.
Sure.
Yes.
Of course.
And the athletes appreciate the support. I must chip in that when we got into this, we realized that there are people who have been supporting athletes, who have been giving athletes a leg up. You have the Ghana's Fastest Human that grooms 100-meter runners, and that is indescribable. You find out that the four gentlemen who are making the airwaves went through the program, went through the Ghana Fastest Human program, and definitely some support has been given there. Most of the athletes who do the short sprints have been through the Ghana Fastest Human program. And Rex has definitely been following up with them and giving them support.
And of course, Rex Broby was once Africa's fastest man, and he started this initiative some years ago. And it's great to note that his products have started, making major strides.
Yeah. And what I guess for us, what was an eye opener is the intensity of sports. When you take one athlete, that athlete, you virtually have that athlete's life in your hands. You're looking at the athlete waking up, training, making sure that there are no impediments of the way of the athlete, accommodation, the whole 9 yards. And this comes at a cost. This comes at a cost that I would be happy to say that some corporate bodies, some individuals, the members of the Just Because fitness group have chipped in. Sometimes you need to get an athlete from Accra to Cote d'Ivoire. You need to get an athlete because between major competitions, when they train, they need to also compete. That is pretty much what makes them run faster. It makes them stronger. And this is across board for all athletes. But to go from A to B, there's this amazing long distance runner, Kasim. And Kasim his time is so good. He qualifies for Berlin, the Berlin Marathon. He qualifies for the London Marathon, for New York Marathon automatically. But he has to get there, and it will cost him about $3,000. Ticket, accommodation, everything. But then if he doesn't have support, he cannot do it. We have excellent athletes in Ghana. Excellent athletes. But they need some support to be excellent and to shine on the world stage, like the 4 gentlemen are shining on the world stage. You know, you keep talking about the 4 gentlemen. The women's relay team, they are excellent athletes in the women's relay team. Unfortunately, they dropped the baton. For the athletes to get to the point where they are perfect in handing over the baton during a relay, they need to practice for some time. Before any relay team, before any athletes go to a major competition, they have to be calmed. They need to practice. They need to get together as a team. Unfortunately, most of our athletes are quite dispersed because we don't have the facilities here in Ghana to train professional athletes. So you have most of our athletes in schools out of Ghana, and when there's going to be an international competition, ideally you camp them for maybe 6 to 8 months, 6 to 8 weeks, and they learn these skills of passing on the baton and winning and acting and performing as a team. Unfortunately, the women's relay team dropped the baton. In that baton change, the lady who won the high jump, no, the long jump, who won the medal for the long jump, stepped in to run because one of the ladies on the relay team had been injured. This lady is an excellent athlete. But in exchanging of the baton, there was a slight fumble that cost us the match. These things have to be corrected. These things, we know how to correct them. They have to practice as a team. We have to take care of the athletes such that injury becomes an afterthought. But we are seeing some injury that maybe can be preventable. We need to manage these athletes a lot better. And we hope that with the GAA in place now, there will be a lot more of this.
Well, as to whether the GAA is in place now, we're not too sure about that because, and that's one of the problems, Efia. I mean, Professor Francis Dodo has a lot of work to do in terms of bringing everybody together. Now, there's problems with the NSA. There's a bit of a rough journey ahead, but let's see how it goes. We are here to interrogate the issues and bring it to the people just the way it is. I'll come to you in a bit, but let's just quickly do a run on what it's looking like on the medal table as we get towards wrap up. Now, Ghana is at number 15 on last day of the games. Okay. Now, Egypt is leading. Egypt is in first place with 270 medals. Nigeria is now in second place with 126. South Africa has 87. Algeria has 124. Morocco 107. Tunisia 96. Kenya 31. And Mauritius 24. Ethiopia has 23. And Madagascar has 12. Now remember that in multi-sport events such as the Africa Games, what is important is your positioning gets better improved depending on the weight of medals that you have. Okay, so if you have more gold medals or and a lesser total, it pushes you higher as against somebody who has more bronze medals. So that's how it works. So Egypt is leading and Nigeria is in second place. So talk about Nigeria. Ghana has a very good relationship with Nigeria sometimes it's difficult to tell that we have two nations between us. So Nigeria always provide a good case study. And so every time we're doing peer review, we need to use them as an example because they have a bigger population, they have bigger resources, and they have bigger numbers to deal with. Now, I'm just getting on the phone line now to speak to a colleague from Nigeria who has been following very closely what's been happening all these years. Adeyinka Adedipe is a sports journalist from Nigeria, a seasoned sports journalist from Nigeria. He's been following, all of these, the trajectory, I beg your pardon, and how everything has gone. And he has insights to share with us. Ade, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Great to have you here on the show.
Thank you, my brother.
Now, Nigeria is second on the medals table. First of all, for you back at home, does this constitute any form of disappointment? Were you expecting this kind of performance? Which is which?
We have always been one of the top countries when it comes to sports in Africa, and if we're able to harness our potentials well, I'm sure we can do better than this. I'm making I'm saying this based on the fact that you see so many Nigerian athletes, doing wonderfully well for other countries in the Middle East, in America, in the UK. If we're able to get people like this, some of them live here, they leave Nigeria, go to Qatar, go to Bahrain. In the next 3-4 months, they become world beaters. That means the talents are here, but we're not doing enough to bring them out, to harness their potential and push them to the world. So to me, I guess the second place might be disappointment.
I see. But at least over here, I mean, you are a better example because you've done better, at these games. Now, what is the structuring like and what is the planning process like over there that makes you perform, this well at the games?
Oh, okay. I mean, the first thing we do back at home in Nigeria is that sports is introduced to every school kids, whether the private or the public schools. The government tries as much as possible to push sports to these schools so that you begin to get what each student can do apart from education. We as sports people, we say education and sports they go together. In transport, we've seen Nigerian athletes going outside to universities in the United States, through scholarships because of their, sporting prowess. So that is what we try to do in Nigeria. We push sports to the kids here. So before they are 12, 18, you get few of them who are doing well, who you can train and become national champions. And from there, they can go on to do well. The likes of Obuduru, Mario Yalis, the fathers of Bukoya, the Chidimos, Ezewa brothers, Olakpade Adeneken. All these guys started this way. Ogunlewe, the latest guy now, Ogunlewe, they all started like this. So before they are 18, you can assess their potential and then make sure that, you monitor them. You also need to monitor them so that when they are monitored, when they do well, they can get grants, from the government to train themselves. They can get, the best of coaching anywhere in the world. And that is what we try to do here. Though we failed to do some of these things over a period of time. But I hope maybe the new minister can refocus and ensure that, school sports becomes the basis for our sports development in Nigeria.
Now, what is the competitive structure like? Because you are talking about how potential is unearthed. Okay, so from that stage, you need to train and then you need to get these guys to compete in the kinds of environments that the Africa Games, the Olympic Games provides for them when they are there and they're wearing their national colors. What's the competitive structure been like in Nigeria and how has it helped, the athletes?
The beauty of sports is that, when you are doing well, nobody can hide you. When you are doing well, no coach can victimize you. When you are doing well, nobody can bring you down. So it means that when you do well, and then you compete at national events, almost immediately everybody knows you. You become a household name. All we need to do is make sure the competitors are there for people to compete. So that when you compete, people know you, the companies come after you, they can give you endorsements. Like Aaron Okodi, the guy, the number one guy in table tennis in Africa, He started as a boy, but now he has endorsement all over Africa. He has endorsement in the US. People are trying to bring him in. And why was he discovered? Because he took part in competitions and then he defeated the veterans, the so-called veterans. And now he's the number one in Nigeria. And then the same model could go for any other bodying athletes in Nigeria. But the one that pains me most is them living for Bahrain, UAE, and then becoming world champions in the 6 months after departing Nigeria. If not for the fact that we have a lot of talent, I'm sure there would have been dearth of talent in Nigeria.
I see. Interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, from my visits to Nigeria, I also noticed that there's a fairly good spread of infrastructure, which I guess also has helped the journey.
Exactly. You are correct. You have infrastructures everywhere. From the National Stadium in Lagos, you'll be surprised that in Lagos alone, we have about 3-4 stadia. The National Stadium is there. We have stadium belonging to the state government. And then we have in the north, the south, the southeast, the southwest, facilities everywhere. But again, it boils down to the problem of maintaining these facilities. So it's also been a problem. But of course, when the facilities are there, the athletes can go there and train and earn their talents and become world beaters. So, I mean, you are correct. You need facilities to also train and become top-class athletes. Because without that, there's no way you can train yourself to become one of the world beaters.
All right. Adenka, thank you so much. Great having you here.
Okay.
And we look forward to seeing more.
You too.
Sure. Thank you so much, Adenka.
No.
Okay. Adenka Adedipe is a journalist from Nigeria, and he's been bringing us the insight. So what they have that we do not have, clearly, is they've got good infrastructure, and there is a sort of an active development plan for these young ones. Sometimes, well. Okay, so would go to the phone line and speak to the head of the International Games Committee, who's also the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Professor Peter Twumasi. I remember very well that we've been playing a sound bite here where he's asking, are we going to get the medals? And they say, yeah. Are we going to get the medals? He says, yeah. Well, we got the medals, but they were not enough to, beat the number that we recorded, some years ago at the last event, our Africa Games event. Prof, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, we've recorded some 13 medals. When we started off, it was a little slow, and then after that, our weightlifter, set the tone by winning 3, and then it started, and then it continued from there. You made a certain projection, before we left for the games. What's your level of satisfaction? How would you measure your levels of satisfaction? Today is the final day.
Oh, it's been a very excellent. I think that is actually even gone beyond our expectations. I think we told Ghana, I think you remember, that we were going to compete.
Hello, Prof.
Okay, all right. Are we on there?
Yes, please go. Hello, Prof.
Okay.
Hello, Prof. Okay, we seem to be having a little challenge with the line. The line's mixing up. We'll try to raise Professor Twumasi on the line again. But Professor Twumasi says that he didn't expect this kind of performance. He thinks it's even over. Are we? Do we sometimes, bloat it and overhype what we've done? Because really, we should be doing better. And this is purely from your perspective as somebody who observes as a Ghanaian, right?
Yes, well, ideally for every athlete who goes out to perform, they want to bring in a medal. And ideally, every athlete who goes out there to perform should bring in a medal. It's not as easy as we have one athlete that translates into one medal. For every athlete who goes out there to perform, they want to bring in a medal. They're heartbroken when they don't bring in a medal. As supporters of athletes in Ghana, we can only support them to realize that passion. for every athlete to get up in the morning to go out there and practice consistently, it takes a lot. And for all the athletes out there, for all the Ghanaian athletes out there, track and field, we have to give them the big ups, because it takes a lot to perform, to go out there and compete for Ghana, because we don't do enough for them to still keep that passion. And some people would look down on athletes who switch nationalities and go and compete for Bahrain, go and compete for the UK. You look at the last Commonwealth Games, and there were athletes there who were Ghanaians who were competing for other athletes, and we were
Other
racing
countries, yeah.
other countries, and we were competing against them. But we can't say. I would not say we are underperforming. Maybe we can do well, because for every athlete who goes out there, they want to win a medal, and they work hard towards that, and we have to support that passion.
All right, so let's get back on the phone line and speak to Professor Twumasi. Prof, thank you for joining us again, for rejoining us. We're talking about your expectations and your measurement of this performance as against what we did the last time.
Yes, I think if you remember when we met with the media, we said that the Games Committee, we set our objectives. Considering I think you remember when we met with the media, we had indicated that, hello? Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. Okay. All right, please.
Hello, Prof. Please go ahead. I can hear you. Hello, Prof. Okay, a bit of a mix-up there. Okay, so joining us also in the studio is Aminu Shado. Aminu Shado is a media practitioner. He's also a football administrator. He's identified with Dreams FC, where he's part of the management team. And reason why he joins this discussion is for two things: a bit on the athletics discussion, and then also on the review of the statutes that have been proposed by the Normalization Committee for the route going forward. Remember that the Congress of the Ghana FA's Normalization Committee comes off during the week at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and ahead of it, this 7-member committee has sat and looked through and has made loads of proposals. But Aminu also has been part of the school system here in Ghana. He's seen athletics, evolve over the period that he's been a young man. He's still a young man, though. He's also got thoughts on this. Aminu, thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much, Nat, for having me. Good afternoon to everyone and to listeners of Joy FM. Well, I, as a Ghanaian...
Okay, so sorry, before you go on, let's just try Prof one more time. Prof, thank you very much for your time. Hello, Prof, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so please just go ahead. We can hear you clearly. So please just go ahead.
All right. So what I was saying is that, our position when we met with the media and they spoke to Ghana, we said that we were really preparing for a few number of disciplines that we wanted to contest within, and then also even to cut down our athletes' numbers because of the fact that for many years now, I think there hasn't been lots of attention to some of the disciplines in our sports. And when we wanted to get medal hopefuls, we couldn't get so many. So we brought only 91, which is about a quarter of what we used in the 2015. So we knew what we were bringing, we're going to do well. And I think that they demonstrated it here in Morocco, in Rabat. Most of them actually go to the medal zones. And then the winnings also started coming. And we have all these medals that have been won. So I think in terms of expectation, I think it has gone even beyond what we expected. We were thinking that we were coming to compete and learn and come and host the 2023, which is the 13th African Games. But now we have gotten even much more than what we expected. See, the whole of Africa, the 54 countries, everybody aimed at getting the 4x100 meter relay competition, and Ghana won it. And if you come to Rabat here, everybody is talking about Ghana. It's excellent. It means that when we really put in much effort, we can realize more results.
And that's an interesting point you've wrapped on, because effort is very key here. Now, we've got these games to host, and there will be loads of expectations on Ghana. You've mentioned that already. What will be the biggest lesson that you?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. So what I was saying is that you see, our position when we met with the media and the.
Okay, something weird is happening. Well, he's made a point. We'll try our best to raise him again, but he's made a point, and he says that what the expectation, this has gone beyond expectation. Aminu.
It tells you clearly how the standards are falling over the years. I mean, I was listening to Efia earlier on, and she was very, very charitable. This has nothing to do with the athlete. It has to do with how we manage our sports. We've not invested enough, and listening to Prof saying we've exceeded expectations. I mean, I'm totally mortified to hear him say we've exceeded expectations.
But Aminu, before you go ahead, yes, if we've won 13 medals for a country like Ghana, knowing what we've done history-wise and all of that, it probably may be below par. However, he admits that yes, we're not up there in terms of maybe the quality of our athletes, their strength on the continent, generally, okay, comparatively with other countries. And so, looking at the numbers that we had, we didn't even expect as much.
And that's the point I'm re-echoing. It tells you how falling the standards have over the years, how we've fallen off our peg. Because Ghana used to be a solid hub whenever there's a games meet, It's not only bent on the 4x100 as he mentioned. Everybody's talking about it, yes. But it used to be a lot more. What happened to boxing? What happened to, apart from the 4x100, what happened to 100 meters, 200 meters? What happened to our long jumpers? What happened to, weightlifting? They've done well. They've done well to some extent. It tells you, especially with the weightlifting, they've won about 6 medals. It tells you.
Kudos to Mr. Ben Numensa and the rest of the team.
And this tells you he puts his personal investment into weightlifting.
Tens of thousands of dollars to prepare this team.
And
yes.
And Ghanaians are claiming glory for it. You see, it tells you that if as a nation we are able to invest more into our athletes, they'll go out there and they deliver. I mean, if you compare ourselves to the South Africans, the Egyptians, the Moroccans, the Nigerians, the difference is very, very clear. They have the infrastructure, they have some form of competition or a program that always monitors their progress, and there's some level of investment.
And weightlifting is interesting to note that weightlifting has been the most successful sport, at these games, winning a total of 8 medals. Amazing stuff.
Just because one person or a team or a group of people decided to put their investment into the sport, it tells you it ran across football everywhere. We need a high level of investment into our sports, and look, just with the 4x100, and look at how Ghana is causing there all over the world because of 4x100. It tells you if you're able to invest even more in other areas, the flag of Ghana will fly much higher than we've flown in these games.
But you have to appreciate that. You have to appreciate that GAA has been supporting athletes to some extent. Maybe not as much as we want, because GAA has pretty much helped some athletes to get some
scholarships.
Yeah. And when it comes to any games, you have the foreign-based athletes who are competing, who are in schools and universities abroad, getting trained in the process of their education, who, thanks to GAA, have been placed in some schools. We have athletes who maybe have settled in the US, have settled in the UK, in France, who support, through GAA, support athletes, the budding athletes. So something is being done. It's not as comprehensive, maybe it's not as comprehensive, it's not as fueled by finances as we would wish it to be, because there are definitely some huge gaps. Something is being done.
Not to cut you, Ifya. I really appreciate the effort being made by individuals and groups like the GAA. My point is that we are just not doing enough. They are doing their best that they can. They are basically feeding on scraps here. It should be a matter of state policy. We need to direct investment towards that sector. In 4 years' time, we are hosting the games here in Ghana. Okay, some level of investment is going on with the raising of infrastructure in the various regions, and that's all well and good. Now we need to tailor our investment towards the athlete itself. Okay, we need to vote resources and because if you look at all the successful countries in these games, it tells you one thing very, very clearly: the states have invested enormously in them, and that's why they are reaping the rewards that they are reaping. If we are able to do half or a quarter of what they are doing, I'm sure we'll do much better than we are.
Okay, so there is a message here, and it's from Godwin in North Carnation. He says, "Is Prof really in charge of our sports? No wonder we are celebrating mediocrity beyond expectations. Like, seriously, the last championship we won 19 medals, and now it comes down to 13 and we are celebrating. I believe the media too are not helping at all about football. Not. You know that the World Cup in basketball starts today. China and 5 African countries are competing. Nigeria are currently ranked number 5 in the world in basketball. Where is Ghana? I am sad." Okay. Thanks for that message, Godwin. Yes, the World Championship in basketball is starting. Now, let me just go back to the earlier one you sent. Not good show. Are we celebrating mediocrity? Here we go. We go into a medal a competition with over 90 sportsmen, and our medal haul is 13, and we're all over the place. Go to Nigeria, and they are talking sports. They are very serious. How come Nigeria now win medals in canoeing and gymnastics? And we're here all over the place rejoicing. What is corporate Ghana doing to help sports? So shambolic, and all that we know is Beauty Queen sponsorship. Well, okay, those are your thoughts. I probably think he's talking about beauty pageants or something. Well, that's...
but you know, for corporate Ghana to get on board, they have to have...
a point of attraction. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I don't think we have hyped up at least to that point. For the longest time, it was only Ghana's Fastest Human that was given as that kind of blow-by-blow account of athletes who are fast, who are, going places. And it will definitely take some time. For one thing that I believe as a nation we have to invest in is a high-performance center. Our athletes have to go outside to be able to practice, to train. Why don't we have a high performance center? If we want to see our athletes on the podium at every athletic meet, we need a high performance center. It costs about $60,000 to $60,000 to camp it will cost about $60,000 to camp the female relay team for about three competitions. If we had a high performance center here, we invite them down, they come and they train. We have to be thinking long term when it comes to our athletes. It can't be let's get them to one competition, let's get them to the next. We have to invest in it so that in 10 years time, in 12 years time, 15 years time, we're churning out athletes who have been trained in a high performance center in Ghana.
If you've spoken to these athletes, I mean, you've practically gotten into their minds. Now, what are some of the stories that they share with you regarding the challenges that they face, personal challenges that they face, which sometimes hinders the ability to perform?
Okay, so one athlete who is in the university outside, and even though she would love to continue training, she has to work. And to be able to train at that level, you have to be consistent. If you have to stop and go to work and come back, by the time you get back, you're tired. You cannot train as consistently, as intensely as you're supposed to. I know of one athlete here who was training here in Accra, who needed just the very basic equipment, a big tire that has a rope that she could use to, for the start, for her speed. And that was lacking. There's some things that makes you wonder, what is going on? Do we want them to win? We cannot expect to wake up one day and see medals. You have to work to get your medals. And if you have athletes who have the passion, who have the skill, and you're not supporting them, you're not meeting them halfway with that, then you're just being unfair.
Well, we've got 4 years to go. Aminu, 4 years to go.
Well, the results we achieve from this meet should tell us what we need to do. I mean, we've reclaimed our glory with the 4x100. The expectation will be that we'll maintain in the next 4 years and try to add the other events also to it. I'm particularly very worried about boxing. Boxing used to be one of our medal hubs whenever we go
Very
to games
true.
like this.
Very true.
To go to the African Games and come back without a medal in boxing.
One. We had one. We've had one so far, but
medal.
more.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And
I agree with you,
yeah,
because
and-
boxing has always
yeah.
been a strong point.
And
yes.
the emergence of weightlifting tells us one thing: investment. It's all about investment now. We need to invest more in our athletes. Once we do that, with the springing up of the infrastructure coming up and all that, I'm sure in the 4 years' time, if we are really, really serious about putting our sports on the right pedestal, then we need to put our money where our mouth is.
0244340437 is our WhatsApp number. 0244340437. Join the discussion. Let's hear your thoughts as well. Very soon we'll be zooming in on football, but let me just quickly take you through the profiles of some of these athletes who've made these massive achievements there. So Winifred Intumi, who won the 3 bronze medals in weightlifting, is a 16-year-old from West Africa Senior High School. She's she won bronze with clean and jerk and snatch, as well as the overall bronze medalist in the division with a total score of 126 points. So she surpassed her clean and jerk record of 67 kg at the African Championships with a lift of 69 kg today. That was when she competed. And she made all of the 6 lifts very successful. Let's talk about Christian Amoah in men's weightlifting. He won 3 bronze medals. The 20-year-old won both clean and jerk and snatch, as well as the overall bronze medalist in the 89 kg division with a total score of 292 points. Amoah was the first Ghanaian weightlifter to compete at the Olympic Games. He placed 21st in the middle heavyweight class, and he won gold, silver, and bronze at the 2017 African, weightlifting junior championship in Kampala, Uganda. So he was also ranked 7th in the Commonwealth Games that was held in Gold Coast, Australia. Let's talk about David Akwe. He won a bronze medal in weightlifting. The 18-year-old won bronze in the 61 kg clean jerk with a total score of 100. He competed at the African Championships and finished 7th in the 67 kg category. Now, Christopher Forrest, I'll say, another weightlifter. He's based in London. He's 29. And he entered the Africa Games with 3 gold medals from the Africa Zone 1 Senior Weightlifting Championship in Egypt. I'll tell you about Grace Obour. Grace Obour is an 18-year-old. She won bronze in the women's 400 meters event with a time of 51.86 seconds. Now, she came under the spotlight in April when she was stripped of a bronze medal won at the CAA Under 18 and Under 20 championships after competing with the wrong age, in the wrong age category. Now, let's talk about Rose Yeboah. The 17-year-old won Ghana's first medal at the games, finishing first in the women's high jump with a jump of 1.84 meters. In April, she won gold in the Under 20 high jump at the CAA Under 18 and Under 20 championships in Abidjan in La Côte d'Ivoire. So, she's a product of Kumasi Girls Senior High School and now a student athlete at the University of Cape Coast. She also plays hockey and basketball, and she won the most valuable player at the Sprite Ball Championship, which was held some years ago, and she helped Kumasi Girls to win gold in that year when they won the championship. Let's talk quickly about the 4x100 meters relay team. Yes, everybody's talking about them, right? So Joseph Amoah, he is the first Ghanaian across all sports to qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. That's good news. Now, he is a student at Coppin State University. Now, Benjamin Azamati is a 21-year-old who is a marine science student at the University of Ghana, Legon. He participated in the World University Games in Napoli, Italy. Martin Owusu Entry is a 24-year-old. He's based in the USA. And of course, Sean Safu Entry is the most experienced sprinter in the team. He's 28 and has been to the Olympic Games, the World Indoor Championship, as well as the Commonwealth Games. All right, so we're wrapping up the part with Efia Pia in supporting of our athletes. Now, we've got 4 years more to go, and I'm sure that you're looking forward to a better story in 4 years in wrapping up this conversation.
Yes, and it takes sometimes something little, sometimes something large. I remember going to LWAC and talking to some athletes, and you realize they're practicing hungry. How does that hungry, as in come to your mouth, they are hungry.
Wow.
You see athletes who are running barefooted, and these are passionate athletes with a skill, athletes that need to build on. I definitely have to mention Wisdom Lowe. Wisdom was a long jumper, a former long jumper who is now based in Nebraska, and he brings in special running shoes. I think he gave some special running shoes to Rosie Bois, who definitely won some medals. That lady is amazing. And gave some running shoes to Grace Obo and Edwin Gari. It takes a lot. Sometimes it takes a little. And we have to have investment in our athletes. And there should be an athletic program that a little girl running from Kumasi High on a dirt track somewhere knows that she can plug into the system. It changes lives. Sports changes lives. And we have to give both the young girls, the young boys who are running, who have that passion, we have to give them some direction. We have to give them the support. And it starts with our national bodies. They have to work towards putting the structure in place so that everybody else can plug in. As private sector, we can do some, but it rests with our national bodies to do the majority of the work.
Efia Pia, thank you so much. Great to have had you here in the studio. And Efia Pia is number one, very, very health conscious. So does a lot of, exercise activity with her team. And they're called Just Because Fitness Ghana. It's just a civil society group. They put resources together to support athletics and individual athletes and in their training regimen and in participation in competitions. So, Efia, thank you very much. Away from that, she's a specialist in international relations and public health. Thank you so much. We surely are going to talk about this. We hope that we can tell us a good story in 4 years' time.
Oh, we will.
You're still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto. We're going to the top of the hour, 2 p.m. And so we switch the discussion to football. On Thursday, the members of the football family in Ghana will will convene at the Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons for the much-awaited Congress. Remember, there have been a few postponements and all, but finally the family is coming together for this key happening in our football history that is supposed to mark the beginning of a final lap into restoring football administration and an elected executive to take care and steer the affairs of Ghana football. As part of the job description that the normalization was given by FIFA, they were to look through the statutes and, overhaul the statutes basically. So a 7-member committee was put together, was commissioned, and they looked through the proposals that were made. They have also made their proposals, and all of this are supposed to be fused in the final document. Aminu Shado, on a regular day, represents Dreams FC, but for the purpose of this discussion, he served as the secretary to the committee, and he has thought he'll be pointing out to us some key elements or key places within this, this major document, very voluminous, I must say, that have been touched on and that will be worked on so that we get a final document to present to FIFA eventually. Aminu, once again, good to have you here on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, this job that the committee, did, how easy was it? Did you find yourselves having a lot of similarities with what you would have expected to be put into the document?
Well, I don't think, for people who worked on this document, I don't think they did it with a lot of difficulty. Cumulatively, we used 5 days to finish this work, and for me as a young man, I was very privileged to work with the membership of this committee. Very experienced and knowledgeable people on this committee who brought a lot of their experiences to bear in the work that we did. We believe we've done a very good counter proposal to the draft status sent to us by the NC, and hopefully it is up to we've put it before the members of Congress, and we are looking forward to have a pre-Congress meeting where a lot of these things will be discussed, and then we'll see the way forward before Congress on Thursday.
Okay. Now, very well. The general bit. Now, key parts of this, of these some of the suggestions that were made that caught your attention and which you have a lot of interest in, based on your being a football administrator yourself.
Well, from the onset, when the documents were served on us, you could see clearly that the lacking industrial knowledge from the side of the NC was very much displayed in the draft document that they sent us to consider. For instance, one glaring and very, very fundamental error, in my opinion, was to identify standing and ad hoc committees as a body of the GFA. Standing and ad hoc committees are committees that work to support the work of either the General Secretariat or the Executive Committee. It cannot be a body on its own. There are four major organs of football in Ghana: the legislative, which is Congress; the executive, which is usually the Executive Committee; the General Secretariat, which is the administrative wing; and then the judicial bodies. These are very, very independent bodies of the GFA whose work does not affect the other. So if you put a standing other committees as part of the bodies of the GFA, then you are creating a fundamental error. Also, there are certain provisions about their ideas about how Congress should be constituted. I mean, we had some reservations with it. What we've proposed is to return to the existing order where everybody is well represented, and we've even created opportunities for women football to also be very, very prominent. We are gradually progressing them so that they can be at par with male football. So basically, we've done. I believe we've done a very good job. Of course, it's not sacrosanct. It's up to members to look through. We are not the exclusive fountain of knowledge, so members should look through. And probably if there are any more counter proposals, I'm aware that there are other bodies who are also looking to make counter proposals. But then I want to believe that no significant change will come apart from what we've done. If any changes at all, it will be very, very minimal. But for the NC document that was sent to us, it was very, very clear from the onset that, like I said earlier, the lack of industry knowledge on the side of the NC has led them into putting together a document which is a very, very good attempt, but failed to address the concerns and aspirations of people within the industry.
Now, you made mention of ad hoc committees being,
captured as a body.
Yes. Is there a portion within this document that says that ad hoc committees are to be made, bodies of the FA?
No. If you go to article,
Yes.
Let me just refer you to the particular article so that it's very, very clear. In football, like I've already established, there are four arms, if you like, of governance. Just like in normal governance, where you have the legislature, which is parliament, where you have the judiciary and you have the executive in football. And these bodies have clearly separation of powers. They work independent of each other. Okay, if you look at Article 23 of the proposed draft status from the NC, they captured the bodies of the GFA as Congress, Board of Directors, which invariably is the Executive Committee, the GFA Secretariat.
You're talking about Article 23.
Article 23, which talks about the bodies, the arms of governance of the GFA. It's supposed to be 4, but they've added a 5th element, which is the standing committees and other committees. And I've already said to you that standing and other committees do not work independent of either the executive or the administrative wing. So it can never be a body of the association. It can never be an organ on its own of the association. Its work is supervised either under the executive committee or the general secretary. Their work is just to advise and support the work of the administrative and the executive wing of the association. So to capture it as an organ, for me, it came as a shock to me. Very, very strange. Even at FIFA, I don't know whether they looked at the FIFA standard status, because if they did, they will be guided not to make this fundamental error, which I believe was genuine, because they lack the industry knowledge, as I earlier indicated.
All right. Now, let's also touch on something rather interesting that's popping up. I've also noticed that in all of this, there's subtle campaigning ongoing, even though we are not very clear regarding, when everything will be put in place, so that then we know when an elective Congress will come off and all of that. Of course, a lot will hinge on Thursday's Congress. But there's a lot of campaigning. People have started, getting very vocal about who their preferences are for the main position, which is the presidency and all of that.
That is very, very normal and expected. For anybody who has aspiration of leading the association or taking up any of the elected positions, it will be, excuse my language, stupid on your part not to start engaging or start checking whether you stand tall amongst people who prospective delegates. So, I mean, it's only normal. I mean, I don't see anything out of the ordinary for people who have expressed interest, either privately or publicly, to start hitting the road and going around to touch base with potential delegates. Because, I mean, the time is very, very short. By the time we are through with Congress, you might have very, very limited time to do your campaigning. So it's better you start early. The early bird, they say, it catches the worm. So I don't see anything strange at all with that.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about the executive director of your club, and how he probably could be a candidate for this. I've heard people also mention him as well. What's his stance on all of this?
Whenever I'm confronted with this question, I always answer it this way: it is his decision to make. I'm aware that he's seeking, he's consulting a lot of people on this issue. There's been a lot of people who have made calls, including myself, who have made calls on him to contest, because I believe, and like-minded people believe, he is of good quality and he will be good for the association. But at the end of the day, it is his decision to make. I mean, he's going to assess all this, information that he's getting from his consultation process, and we believe he'll come out with a decision, definite decision as to whether he will contest the leadership of the FU or not. It is his decision to make at this point in time.
Now, there was one bit that also captured my attention, the bit about the constitution of Congress, especially the elective Congress, and who is eligible to vote at the Congress. How have the discussions gone around that particular subject?
Well, when it comes to especially the composition of Congress, and then even the composition of the executive committee, I think this discussion will rage on until after Congress, because there are a lot of varying views. But what is very, very clear from the onset is that the one as proposed by the NC will not stand the test of time before Congress as currently constituted, because the NC were proposing a board of director. In fact, their Article 26, which is supposed to be the composition of Congress, reads delegates and votes. I don't know which one, what is relating to. It's supposed to be composition of Congress, but they've captured it as delegates and votes. They are proposing that they retain the 2 members each for a Premier League club, and then for women's elite league competitions. I don't know which competition is. If that's the Premier League of the women's game, that's fine. They are proposing 8 delegates, and then 5 of which should be women. For the Division 1 league, they are cutting the numbers from 1 per club, which is 48, to 24 by half, which already is being kicked against by people from the Division 1 league and all that. And then they've contrary to the previous status, which groups constituent bodies, the referees, players under one ambit to vote for, to have 1 delegate at Congress, they've given 1 each. You see, the problem with the NC document, usually when you are proposing amendment to Congress, when you propose changes, you have to back it with reasons why you are proposing the change. This document came without reasons, no justification as to the changes they want to make. So it makes it very, very difficult for people to appreciate the thinking that went on to inform the changes that they are proposing to the association. We, as a committee, have gathered a lot of information from stakeholders from our various meetings, and it has culminated into a counter proposal, of which will be discussed in the course of the week before we go to Congress. I'm aware other groups, a lot of groups, in fact, I will even encourage more groups to be interested and look at the documents as given to us by the NC and propose a lot of counter proposals. But I'm very, very sure that by Thursday morning, when Congress people will march to the venue to go and deliberate on these issues, we'll have a very firm direction as to where all of us are heading towards.
Let's also talk about this period of inactivity, because we had the special competition. Some of our clubs are engaged in Africa. 2 of them are engaged in competition in Africa. The rest have to find their way again. How are you guys coping? How are the clubs coping again?
It's been very, very difficult. A lot of talk has been around Congress and leadership of football and all that. It's all well and good, but I think also we should spare a thought for our competitions. We should be as interested in getting our competitions back on track as we are with the leadership of the association and other things. Because as we speak now, players, if you are training, they are not playing competitions, so they are training. To what end are they training? I know some of the clubs, just to avoid costs, have decided to keep the players away until such a time where there's clarity on the season. And this was a season
and they keep the players away and they're not paying them salaries?
Yeah, because you bring them in, you have to pay them. If they get injured, you have to take good care of them. You have to feed them, you have to clothe them. It all comes with costs. And usually you bring them in because you are preparing towards a competition. There's no competition, so why do you bring them in to incur the cost? That's for clubs who are not in training. That's for clubs. But I know some clubs are in training, so it means they are taking up this cost anyway. But the point of the
is that the same structure that you guys are running at Dreams?
At Dreams, what we did was that, because one major part, you see, we have contractual obligations with the players.
Sure.
In the same contract, they make provisions for these unforeseen circumstances. But in all things, what you do is that you engage the players, let them understand they are not an island on their own. I always treat this football industry is akin to a company. If you've been shut down from production, how are you able to generate enough revenue to take care of your workers? We are all in the same boat. So you have to come to an agreement of a sort. If they have to forfeit portions of their earnings, because a major operation of the club is to play in competition, to stay in training, then so be it. And that's what we did at Dreams FC. We engaged the players. We told them they were very much aware of the situation. and they're very much aware of the fact that since there's no competition, revenue streams has gone down significantly, and it obviously affected their earnings. So we came to a compromise as to how we are going to cater for, their basic needs and to keep them in training. So I think that's what we've done, and we are keeping the players in training at the moment.
I see. After training, do you have to play the games as well? You've been organizing friendly games? Or?
Yes, we are only limited or restricted to playing friendly matches, nothing competitive, and that it's a major concern, because competition also helps to improve the quality of players. When you are playing a game without anything at stake, it stifles development of a player. A player becomes whole when he's playing in competition. So, like, I'm making this call in as much as we are very, very much interested and determined to get this normalization process over and done with. We should be as equally interested in trying to get season underway. Remember that this was supposed to be the season where we synchronize with the other big, or the football calendar was supposed to be synchronized with ones elsewhere, especially in Europe. We are missing the opportunity already. The season out there have started in many, many countries, and we are still in a limbo as to when our season will take off. So it's a matter of concern that I believe we should draw our minds to.
20 minutes to the top of the hour, 2 p.m. You're still here on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. Reviews. But at the end of the day, a final document will be adopted and will be approved. Let me do a few messages here. Okay, on the subject of athletics, I met two cousins of mine, very fantastic athletes in the Ghana Army a couple of weeks ago, and I asked them if they were part of this year's competition in Morocco. Their simple answer was, Sami, forget it. If the mediocrity ends in this country, we'll begin to die for her again. These were girls of those days who made Ghana proud. Where lies the morals of the NSA boss to be happy with what the country's attainment is so far at the games? God save us. Samuel Kwablan Nukpenu, thank you very much for that message. We will now activate the phone line so that you can join us with your thoughts. Remember, it's 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. Get through to us. Let's get your thoughts on the two subjects so far. All right, let's get on the phone lines as we do the discussions on our football. Jacob is reaching us from Kaswa. Jacob, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother. I've enjoyed the discussion. Actually, let me speak on athletics. The athletics, you see, we need to. Sports is done through the education system. It's through the education system that you get those who qualify for the national championship qualification. You get them from the universities. That's where they have all the university games and qualifications. So we need to give more facilities to the universities or the institutions, the education institutions. They have the land. What is preventing us from giving more facilities so that they do the education and the sports together? Sport and education are intertwined. You can't separate one from the other. That is where we are getting it wrong. And we are not providing the basic needs of the athletes. Yet we want to win medal, which is absolutely wrong. Until you invest in the sporting activities or the facilities at the education level, then it attracts more people to come on board, get the right training, get the right education, and propel them to move to the higher levels. The starter is there already. So why are we gallivanting around as if we don't have it? We have the human resource there to train them. The next thing is on the review of the GFA statutes. Look, it's so disappointing when you read the one from the NC. I was seriously hurt. So why should we put such people there? They lack the knowledge content of what they are doing. Yet we have the human resource here in Ghana to do the work. Go to University of Education, the Hypers Department. We have Dr. Austin Lugutera. He is lecturing sports governance. He holds PhD in sports. Please. So why should you go and pick somebody who is not, who hasn't gotten the knowledge in sports to come and do this restructuring or what do you call it, the NC, the normalization? The entire team that was put there was wrong. Knowledgeably wrong.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to Ibrahim in Kaswa. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
Great. Thanks for asking. You go ahead.
Okay. So I have a fundamental issue with the submissions being made by Mr. Shadow in your studios. You know, I think we must get something very clear. It is my understanding that the NC is supposed to be proposing changes to the existing constitution.
That is right.
Of the GFA.
That is right.
So if he sits in the studio and he purports to judge the work they've done based on what had existed, then it means it defeats the purpose of which the NC was created in the first place. So, like he said, it is important for the NC to have also provided explanations why they've made certain changes. But to the extent that he's not aware, for him to virtually judge the work they've done and even question their lack of expertise in the industry which may have informed the changes which they have made, I think it's a little bit too early. It will be important for the NC to come out to explain why they want to make, for instance, a committee, a body on its own. Maybe there may be good reasons why it is so, which he doesn't know, I don't know too. So to hear the explanation, I think it will not be proper to judge the new one based on the existing one that has created all the problems which we have all been complaining about. So
and also, okay, very well. Thank you so much. It's also worth noting that he mentioned that he was expecting that some, little notes will be written regarding some of the reasons. Exactly. Anyway, thank you very much, Ibrahim. 0302216541. 0302216541. Let's now talk about what the intuition just tells you. For me, it is very worrying that our footballers are idle. We've done a normalization committee special cup. It's gone well, but once again, we've gone back to that idle period, and we need to get things done quickly, and then we can move on. What does your gut feeling tell you as well? I mean, based on all of the interactions that have happened, in the background and all of that, about Thursday and how we could possibly move on or we could possibly stop.
Well, I believe, look, despite all the controversies that has characterized this normalization process, and especially with the review of the status and all that, I believe strongly that by the time Congress convenes officially and starts, football people know exactly what they want.
What do they want?
They want a situation where the industry thrives. This, of course, we've gone through a process where we've come at the end of a process where we are not happy with some of the things that we did in the past, of course. But it's not as if we can wipe all of them away and bring in angels from which other island to come and run football. These are people who have invested their earnings, their life savings, their resources, their manpower into football. They know exactly what they want. We want to sanitize our football. All of us are interested in sanitizing our football. Look at what happened with Asante Kotoko last weekend when they played Kano Players. This is the kind of spectacle we want in our football. All of us want the betterment of football, because if it happens like that, it betters my life as an administrator of football. So let the point be made that we are very much interested in welcoming positive ideas, not ideas that will take us back, not ideas that will stifle innovation in our industry, not at all. And let us not try and demonize ourselves, because completely, all of in present day, anybody who is associated with the game, administration of the game, is either corrupt or a thief, or these are things that we should put to the back burner. These are things of the past. We are charting a new course for football, and start with getting our status and regulations right. And I must say, it's a good attempt by the NC. They have proposed reforms. They have proposed status from them. But like I told you clearly, because of the lacking industry traits and knowledge, they made some basic fundamental errors, which as practitioners we seek to correct on Congress Day. That's all. There's nothing. I think the process will go on very, very well. I think at the end of the day, we'll come out very, very successful and stronger, because the counter proposals that we are making, we have good argument to back them anyway. So on the floor of Congress, we should expect that, we'll go into a process where we'll come out of the venue knowing that we've put in our football back on track.
Well, interesting thoughts there. You also join us with your thoughts. Remember, for text or for WhatsApp, it's 0244340437, and for the phone line, it's 0302216541. 0302216541. Your messages are very welcome as we get towards wrapping up the show this afternoon. We're just quickly taking a look at Congress and what we should be expecting on Thursday. Now, a 7-member committee was put together to do reviews of the work of the NC regarding proposed statute changes, and they have also come out with their bit of the work. So all of this will be brought to bear on Congress on Thursday. And of course, you'd have to follow Joy Sports for coverage. We will be there throughout the day, and we'll be outlining the coverage plan for you on Monday, and we'll be there on the ground and speak to all of the industry players and gauge their thoughts as we look forward to restoring normalcy to our football. Let's speak to Kwabena, who's reaching us from the USA. Kwabena, thank you for joining us on the show.
Hello, Mr. Ato. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great, Kwabena. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is my first time of calling your program, and I'm very happy to call in. And thank you for the opportunity. Hey, the gentleman in your studio, you have really helped Ghanaians by bringing that gentleman. He's very intelligent, and I think if he has any plans of being the FA president, maybe moving forward after his boss has maybe has decided to apply for that position, he should consider doing it. Now, let me come to Afia on the African Games. Can I do that?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes. Afia, I think Afia, you said, schooled in the United States, and she has got everything wrong. I understand. Now, we need to put our infrastructure in place, as your gentleman said. We need to concentrate on facilities in our various secondary schools and universities. That is where we unearth the raw talent. Now, after we have unearthed the raw talent, they can make a decision to go to either professional or continue to be amateurs. So that is where we need to put the infrastructure, and that's why we need to put in competent people at the various associations, like the boxing. I know you are passionate about boxing. We need to put in competent people who can manage sports administration. I understand. So that's where we need to go. If we don't put in the infrastructure, the various training tracks in the various schools, how can we get the raw material out? And they have to decide whether they need to be professionals or not. The associations are not supposed to be spoon feeding them. As soon as you decide to be a professional, you need to. All we need is the association to be able to guide them as to what kind of decisions they want to make. Now, it's a short program, so I don't want to go deep into it. But what I'm saying is, we need to know where we have to tackle. Like one of the guys said, we need to concentrate on our various schools and unearth the raw talent. Afterwards, then with the competent people in the various administrations, we can move Ghana sports forward. So that's all I want to say.
Kwabena, thank you very much for your thoughts. Kwabna, thank you very much. We go to Sam, who is in Ridge and on standby to speak to us. Hello, Sam. Okay, unfortunately, we lost Sam. Sam, please try to hit those digits again and get through to us. We're just about 5 minutes away from wrapping up the show. And, interesting thoughts made there about the school system, Shadow, and how we should just keep pumping the resources there. There is a structure, but midway through, so the talents are produced, and then when they get midway through, it just gets disjointed. That's what's been happening basically, right?
Because sports in itself, in its nature, is highly capital how do you call it?
Dependent.
Yes. So if you are not able to sustain, it's a process. You identify, you harness, you nurture it, you develop it until it gets to a certain stage. So you just don't stop your work by just identifying it. You have to go through the whole process to be successful. And what we fail to do in this country is to invest. It's very, very, very important. We have sports. Look at how the whole country was put in a state of frenzy when the 4x100 relay team won the gold medal at the African Games. We love our sports, but we don't like putting our money where our heart is. And I think it's about time we change that attitude of ours to put the money where our heart is.
Okay, very well. Felix in Kwashiman is our next caller. Felix, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Nat.
Please go ahead.
Nat, the bane of our athletics is because the authorities have failed at big time. The whole National Sports Stadium does not have tartan track, and it was condemned for football. Not all of us can play football. Go and see Airwalk. When they condemned the tartan tracks at Dakar Sports Stadium, the excuse was that there was Airwalk. Go and see. Airwalk looks like what do we call it? Like a street. Go to the other stadia. The tartan tracks are in poor shape, and that is the reason why our athletics is going down the drain. And I think go to what do we call it? Azuma Nelson Sports Complex. They have come to collapse the other sporting facilities just for football. Please follow up for us, and let's see whether they would bring the tennis court and the handball pitch and the rest over there. We all cannot play football. Please tell our authorities for us. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Have a nice day too, Felix in Kwashiman. And of course, these National Youth Resource Centers are supposed to have other adjoining facilities and other facilities that help to play other sporting disciplines. That one we're very sure about. Okay, so Frank Todd Amwa has sent this one. He says, as for athletics, if we don't go back to the O-level system, then we should forget it. Because with 2 years and 7 months of secondary school education, no parent will allow his or her ward miss in terms of, intellectual capacity building. Well, sports is supposed to be part of the curriculum. Well, thank you very much, Frank Todd Amwa, for that message as well. Okay, so we're wrapping up now. So Aminu Shadow and many others will be there at the College of Physicians and Surgeons on Thursday for the Congress. And as I've mentioned to you, Joy Sports will be there on ground to bring you unrivaled coverage of this Congress. Final words as we wrap up.
It will be one of the best congresses in a long while, because our football is at its crossroads. And a lot of thinking is going on behind the scenes. People are forming, very, very informative opinions. So it won't be business as usual. It will be very, very, very informative. It will be very, very enlightening. So, we are very, very much ready. We are going through the process, but I'm sure the engagement will not stop from here. It will continue until when Congress itself officially opens. So we just have to assure our fans and supporters that they should have faith in the people who are going to do justice to this document, because we are very, very much interested in getting our football back on the right footing.
Thank you.
Already, you know it. Top everything, you know it. King already, you know it. My body so bad.
So I'd like to say a very big to Aminu Shadow, football administrator, member of the management team of Dreams FC.
You know it. King already, my baby.
Good afternoon to you, Leonard Ankra. Osofo Leonard Ankra. Thank you very much for doing the listening. Also, we'll say a very big happy birthday to you, Kwame Asari Entry of Consolidated Bank Dansoman Exhibition Branch. It's from your wife Celine and the entire University of Ghana Business School class. So Kwame Asari Entry, happy birthday to you. For us here at Multimedia Group. So congratulations to you, Joy Businesses, Sandra Esinam Apenu. Congratulations to you once again. Congratulations to my good friend Thomas Jato, the CEO of HS Lodalo Shoes. So he was doing banking and he decided to make shoes. Wow. He's doing very well with that as well. And of course, I'll see all of you later this evening at Rhythms on the Runway. I'll be on the stage together with Nanapa and Namwa. We're going to bring you this. It's going to be very exciting and interesting. All right, so that's it for the show. Okay, so standing next to me is a broadcaster, newscaster, and a model as well. Have you bought the magazine, the last edition of the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair magazine? You should see Komla Adum in a rather interesting, pose. Komla Adum, the model, is here with the Joy Headline News at 2. Thanks to the whole production team, Selwyn Ofuri, the rest of them, Enoch Fifi Force and the Joy Sports team. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.